rice, so it takes a lot less time to cook and absorbs all of the moisture and all of the liquid that you're going to cook it in really easily. Now this rice pudding is going to be unlike anything you've had before, because let's be honest, rice on its own is a little bit boring. So first off, I'm toasting mine in the oven to give it a bit more of a bite and a lovely nutty taste. 15 minutes should do the trick. Wow, there's some amazing smells coming from this. That toasted rice is great. It smells a little bit like breakfast cereal. And that's just what I'm after. I'm going to add to that toasty flavour by cooking my rice in a nutty base. So I'm going to cook some butter and take it to that point where it goes nice and brown. They call it beurre noisette in French. It means nut butter. About 50 grams into a pan, quite a high heat, and you're going to take it just to the point where it's almost burnt. Now keep a careful eye on it. Just as it's smoking, I add my toasted rice. And make sure you give it a good stir. And the rice gets covered completely with this lovely nutty brown butter. To make this pudding really gorgeous, I'm adding a special ingredient. Now I'm using almond milk in this recipe rather than normal milk, because again it has a kind of depth of flavour of toasty nuts. And all these little things are the difference between a boring rice pudding and a really good one. And one way to make a good pud really good is to add some luscious double cream and some muscovado sugar. You can see already that the sugar is dissolved. It's kind of giving this lovely brown caramel colour to the rice pudding. I'm not normally the biggest fan of beige, but this is a good one. This will take about 15 minutes to cook out, but don't get bored, just keep stirring. If you're expecting one of those rice puddings that you had at school with horrible skin on the top that no one ever ate, you're going to be in for a massive disappointment, because you're going to end up with something that you love, that you'll come back to time and time again. It's no bother really. I mean, how hard is stirring? Then just before you want to give up, you should end up with this. Now it's really lovely and gloopy and rich, thick and sweet. No skin in sight. Sticking with the nutty theme, stir in some chopped toasted almonds. And now, like all good risottos, just going to leave it with the heat off to sit for about 5, maybe 8 minutes before we come back to it. I promise you a rice pud like you've never had before, so I'm not stopping there. This is a little bit of extra garnish for richness and decadence. I'm using creme fraiche to cut through those toasty dark flavours. And mixing in some ground cinnamon, icing sugar and a bit of orange zest. Gives a real fresh kick. Just give it a good whisk till it's nice and thick. And it's back to your rice. Now, like all good risottos, you finish them off with a bit of cheese. This one's no different, except it's not going to be Parmesan, it's going to be mascarpone. Whack in a couple of tablespoons. Don't be shy. And to make this pud the best it can be, top it all off with some fresh diced peaches, a few mint leaves, a dollop of your creme fraiche mix, and a sprinkling of muscovado. And that, my friends, is my version of a classic rice pudding, done very easily, but I can tell you now that it definitely doesn't taste simple.